Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. We have so many incredible athletes here in our community, and we've got U.S. snowboard team athlete Senna joining me on the couch. Good morning, Senna.
Good morning. Thanks for having me in.
We love having you in only because you get to go on the coolest adventures ever, and we love getting to take the time and hear about the adventures and know where you're going, where you've been, what you've been doing, and you've had an incredible season so far.
Yeah, it's been nonstop. I feel like I've traveled more than I ever have, which is like hard to believe that I could travel more than the last couple of years, but just like I've barely even been here. It's been so busy.
I know, you have been insanely busy. I follow you on social media only because then I'm like, wow, look where he is now. It's so beautiful there.
Bouncing all over the place. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you just had a really good race.
I did.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so it was in Cortina, which is funny because I actually live on Cortina Lane here in Vail, so I like going to Cortina. It feels like a home away from home in a way. And yeah, it was a night race, which was like a really cool energy. And I actually barely qualified in. It was kind of weird, windy conditions in qualifying. I was like, oh my gosh, just get me into the heats, And I snuck in, and then we had the race the next night under the lights, and there was all sorts of people there. It was just like great energy, and it was like some of my best racing I've done in the last couple of years. So it was awesome.
And because of this race, you just made it to
World Championships.
A bigger race.
Yeah.
One race to the next race to a bigger race.
Yeah, and World Champs is awesome. It's kind of like flies under the radar a little bit because of the Olympics, but it's very similar in terms of the team size. There's only 4 athletes that get to go to World Championships, just like the Olympics, and it's an event that only happens every 2 years. I made the World Championships team last time in 2021, which was in Sweden, which was awesome, but it didn't go as well as I'd hoped. So I'm ready for some redemption, and it's going to be in Georgia, which is kind of a crazy country to go to.
Which, I mean, you just get to go to the coolest places, but also you're in front of these large crowds at some of them. So this last one, this night race in Cortina,
yeah.
I can only imagine having all of those people there as you're like competing head to head with all these other
so
incredible
electric.
Athletes. Yeah.
It's amazing. I remember like the first heat I came down because I won my first heat, and I come into the finish and it's like the DJs are going, there's like people partying. I'm like, this is insane right now. It's like, but you kind of feed off that energy, and luckily that night I went all the way to the small final. So I got to race every single heat that was kind of every round that was available that night. So I got to feed off that energy as much as I could.
All right, let's just talk a little bit about your sport, only because I find it to be so fascinating. And for people who don't know what snowboard cross is, maybe this is a good time to teach them a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to understand. It's just first person across the finish line. Gate drops, 4 people to go through a crazy course of rollers, jumps, bank turns, mayhem, and whoever crossed the finish line wins.
Now, let me ask you, what is it like when you're side by side competing with someone like this? Is it really scary because you're like, oh my gosh, if they slip, or if I slip, like we're both going down?
So funny enough, that's my friend Glenn from the Netherlands, and that was at the Cortina night race, and that was the first heat. And he was actually like pushing into me in that turn, like that was kind of a scary moment, but I'm glad I got photographed. I mean, we're like total friendly competitors, but it was like intense in that moment.
I mean, it looks intense, and just knowing that you're on your backside edge, he's on his toe side edge, and you guys are literally head to head.
Butt to butt, full speed. Yeah.
Full speed right there, which is something that I think is so impressive in the sport that you do. And then the next photo that we were showing, you were obviously jumping off of something quite large.
Yeah, that was in Austria earlier this year at a training camp, and it was like end of the day. I was like, I just want to snag this cool photo because it was so like there was an angle on the step down in the course that you could just like looks like you're jumping over the mountains, and little photographer inside me was like posting my teammate up. I was like, all right, just hold it just like this. I'll tell you when I'm coming, and came out pretty well.
Just like snap a bunch of photos.
Yeah, just hold it down, don't move. I'll do the rest.
So what do you do to prepare mentally for all of these big competitions?
Well, I'm lucky to work with a sports psychologist that really helps me kind of keep grounded and just kind of focusing on one thing at a time. If you look at the season as a whole, you can get kind of overwhelmed by the vastness and the magnitude of all the different competitions and just kind of a chaotic schedule. But if you just go one thing at a time, helps kind of compartmentalize in your head, and just keep focused on one task, accomplish that task, move to the next one.
Which we've talked multiple times on this couch, and I asked you what the best piece of advice you'd ever received was, and that was it. By making sure that you do every little thing, day by day, competition.
It's all in the details.
Right, and I think it's so important that a lot of the people that are at home maybe don't understand how intense these competitive fields are, and especially when you're butt to butt, like trying to push your friend over.
Oh, for sure, I know. The stress is just insane, but you kind of have to find a way to take that stress and use it just in a positive way, like to help it fuel you, because it's so easy to kind of crumble underneath that stress. So you kind of have to like shift your perspective for it. That was actually that photo is awesome because that was probably my favorite day this year. Or maybe my favorite day this year. That was actually at a European Cup race. Funny enough, the guy that's in the lead in that photo is that same guy, Glenn, that was butt to butt with in that turn. But yeah, I got second at that race, which was it was a crazy stacked European Cup race, which is a step below the World Cup, but almost the entire World Cup field was at this race. So it was super competitive and some of my best racing I've done. There's me with my coaches. Got Nathan on the right there, and then Rob Fagan on the left. Nathan's another Vail local, so holding the trophy for me.
We love to see you guys, and we love to see all of these Vail athletes really just like going out there and making huge names for our community. And you absolutely crush it. Look at you up in the starting gate. Okay, so we have to talk about this.
That was in France.
Only because what goes through your brain when you're standing in that starting gate?
Well, it used to get like a lot of anxiety when you're standing in the start gate, or even when you hear like the start cadence and the gate drop, your heart starts to race a little bit. But the more time you spend in it, the more comfortable you are there. And now it's just kind of like an extension of where you're at. And I used to get kind of weird about like a little series of things I do for myself, like a certain amount of breaths I take and like close my eyes for 2 seconds. And then I've kind of like gotten over that now because I'm just so comfortable in the start gate. I just get in there and it's like, all right, this is where it's time to go to work, focus, look at what you need to do and accomplish it. So.
How do you feel as a human being for your passion getting to be your job?
I'm like the luckiest person ever. Yeah, that's all I know. I mean, it's a ton of work, but at the end of the day, I'm just like so happy and so fortunate that I get to do what I get to do. And I'm just honestly just so lucky.
So the big competition is this weekend, correct?
Well, we fly there this weekend. We're actually stopping in Austria on the way for a quick training camp. And then I think we're there for 5 days, and then we start the journey over to Georgia. And yeah, I don't even know the dates. I guess I should probably know the dates. It's like the end of the month, though.
Now, if people want to see what you're doing, where you're going, and how you're shaping up in all of these incredible competitions that you're part of, where can they kind of follow along?
The best place where I'm the most active is on my Instagram, just at Senna Leith. But throughout Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, I'm pretty active on all of them now. And also just the US Ski and Snowboard social media channels as well provide a lot of good info for our races and different competitions that we have going on.
And of course, you're going to be traveling again, so you're not going to be here. You're not going to be home for a little bit. But
and I'm leaving for like 5 weeks.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'll be back and it's like springtime.
That's so crazy to me. I mean, you're leaving.
Which is my favorite time of the year here for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
That and summer. That and like the middle.
Like winter's great, but like spring is really great.
I know, and the skiing and snowboarding is amazing then. Now, when you leave, what's the thing that you miss most about our wonderful community?
All the friends here. It's just such a happy place to live with a bunch of like-minded people. You know, I love going and grabbing coffee, going to the gym, just seeing all my friends and people I care about, and just a whole bunch of people that enjoy doing all the same things that you do and are supportive of each other. That's what I miss, the community.
Now, if we have any young athletes watching the show right now, what piece of advice would you give them if they want to end up on the same journey you're on?
Just work hard as hard as you can, and nothing comes quick. Like, that's the thing, is you want it to come as fast as possible. Like, I want this level of success now, but honestly, just keep hard working, and over time, all of a sudden, you're there. Yeah, one thing at a time. It's so easy to just like be impatient. You know, I want this now, but honestly, if you just work hard, eventually the results come.
The results do come, and you had such an incredible season last year too, and just like getting to spend time with you and chat with you and know everything that you're doing and going through, and like having you openly talk to us about your mental health and what you do to stay positive while you're on the road, because you do miss your friends and you do miss your family, and that's all really hard. It's so inspiring to just know that you're living your full dream, but like also you're so candid and transparent about these things.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. That it makes it so much more incredible to sit down and chat with you.
Oh, well, thanks. It means a lot.
We love having you in here, and we're like really rooting for you now for your big competition, World Championships. That's huge.
Yeah, I love being at competitions and knowing that people back home are actually rooting for me. Like, the support from the community really means a lot. Like, getting messages, thank God for FaceTime. You know, like, right. You know, stay connected with the people I love and care back home, and it's nice knowing you all are rooting for me.
Oh, we're always rooting for you, especially here at TV8. And you can just like send us updates, and we'll like update everyone from where we are, because we think it's so important, and we think that what we do as a community and to have these athletes come out is just like amazing. And so congratulations.
You guys are lucky to have a bunch of amazing athletes in this valley. So
I know.
The talent pool is thick here.
I know. And congratulations.
Which I used to think was, you know, sucked when I was younger, because I see some friends from other places that the talent pool is not as crazy, you know, they're already stars, and now I'm here, I'm like, gosh, I have to compete against all these people to even make a name for myself. But now, once you kind of get to that level, you're like, God, this is pretty awesome to be from such a talented community.
Right. All right, well, Senna, thank you so much for being here, giving us all this great information, and congratulations on
Thank you so much.
Being.
And I'll stop in when I'm back. So.
Yeah, we would love that. Give us an update on everything.
We got like 4 or 5 World Cups coming up, so.
Holy cow! All right, cool.
Nonstop.
All right, we'll see you back here in just a little bit. Make sure that you follow him on social media at Senna Leith. That way you can follow along with all of the adventures and you can see how he does in these big competitions he has coming his way very shortly. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more Good Morning Vail, so stay tuned.